How's it going, everyone, and welcome to No Fun Allowed. And today we are going to be taking a look at Arcane Arcade's Fallout tabletop role-playing game. You can find this for free. There's going to be links down below to the Arcane Arcade's Patreon. Mind you, even though it's on Patreon, it is not paid for. It's a free link because I believe, from the small amount of legalese that I know, you're not allowed to sell something you don't own the rights to. And obviously, a bunch of YouTubers don't own the rights to Fallout, so they just have that up there for free. They are currently doing a live stream game of it now. Well, the first episode anyway was pre-recorded, but I know that they're going to be having a live game of it. So I wanted to take a look at what this game system has to offer. I don't know exactly if it's a full-blown 5e supplement-ish sort of thing. I know that it's definitely just out there on its own. So let's take a dive into it. First off, just starting off with incredible art and stuff. Table of contents, character creation checklist, races, backgrounds, special, skills, leveling up, equipment, gameplay, combat, and conditions. And mind you, this is a pretty small document. It's only 50 some odd pages, so really not that big here. They aren't going for, that 100 pages of lore dump or whatever. They're just getting right to it. So first off, we have character creation. Character creation goes as follows. Choose your race and background, then assign your special, your skill points, and pick one trait. Traits are optional. Okay, so I'll be curious to see how that plays out. Character creation checklist. Choose your race, background, special. Tag skills. Tags are +2. Okay. Add half your luck modifier rounded down to all skills. Pick your trait. Calculate your stamina, HP, agility, healing rate, rad resist, carry load, passive perception. Add equipment and background, calculate party nerve, and calculate party luck. So that's interesting there. There is a difference between stamina points and hit points. I'm willing to bet that stamina is more along the lines of maybe like it's like a resource that you can use. We'll have to see. So for our races here, we get several. We get human, ghoul, robot, synth. Is synth different than robot? I'll be curious to see. Okay, so here I think is all the lore mumbo jumbo here. Humans are the dominant species of the earth, blah, blah, blah. Humans don't pop out of holes, except when they're emerging from vaults, I guess they kind of do. See more in faction section. As humans, you are susceptible to radiation and most substances take effect in your body just dandy. You gain 3 tagged skills. Okay. Ghoul gives us, as a ghoul, you are completely immune to radiation, but you have a resilient body. All effects from chems and drinks last half as long. Okay, there we go. Additionally, stim packs only heal half as much. You gain 3 tag skills. So if you read that first sentence right there, it automatically makes me think like, but you have resilient body. That sounds like a good thing. So it's like, why are you saying but? But I understand. If you pump psycho or whatever else chems are going to be in this, they're not going to be as good. Makes sense. For robotic body. As a robot, you are immune to radiation, poison, and have a natural AC of 13. Okay, so that's our first instance of making me think it's definitely on par with a 5e game there. AC of 13 and a damage threshold of 2. You do not need to eat or hydrate, though you do need to recharge for 4 hours every 24 hours, so basically they're an elf. If you fail to do so, you will automatically shut down. If you recharge safely indoors, you will gain the benefits of well rested. Interesting. Okay, so I'm assuming well rested is just a long rest. As a robot, you do not have stamina points or HP. Instead, each time you take enough combined damage equal to your endurance modifier plus your level, you take on the effects of equipment decay. Ooh, I like equipment decay. Let's go. You can be repaired to remove a level of decay. You or another creature must succeed a repair check. The repair process takes 1 hour and requires 1 metal junk material or 1 robot repair kit. If you decay at level 5, you cease to operate, and another creature must repair you. Okay. So I really like Decay. I think that's definitely something that should be in more games, I think. Weapon degradation, armor degradation, things like that, because, it's really cool when you are in the middle of a dungeon, you sit there and say, okay, maybe I need to swap over to another weapon because my really good weapons, feeling weak, or, oh, hey, maybe I should just take off my armor because I don't want it to blow up kind of thing. I really like that. Okay, so actually we get a very cool list here on different bots that we can be. Mr. Handies, Protectrons, Robo-Brains, pretty cool. And so, yes, synth is different than a robot here. So synths, blah, blah, blah. There are 2 subraces of synth. Okay, I like that. Gen 2s and Gen 3s. As a Gen 2, you are immune to radiation, poison, and substances. You do not need to eat, sleep, or hydrate. You can be prepared to heal your HP. You or another creature must succeed a repair check. Makes sense, but Gen 3s are much cooler. As a Gen 3, you are indistinguishable from a regular human. You do not age or require sleep due to your artificial memories. You can only tag 2 skills. You are considered human for the purposes of perk requirements. Very interesting there. So, right there, I really like the limited scope and scale here because it is the Fallout universe. It is just straight up, 1950s, but then add 200 years of sci-fi technology on top of it. So it makes sense that it is just humans and robots. I'm pretty sure some people are going to try and play Dogmeat, though. Backgrounds. Your background determines your place in the world, your job, profession, and personality. Your background also provides you with starting equipment. I really like that. So, one thing I don't like about 5e is when you pick a class, bam, you just get all your equipment from your class. I think it would be cooler if you got your equipment from your background because, if you... I just like that system. I see a lot in other game systems. I think we could certainly see that more here. But once again, I don't know fully if this is like a 5e clone or a 5e slap-on. I think that it's his own system based on what I saw before, but we'll have to see. Citizen, a down-to-earth working person who survives day to day with a few bottle caps, maybe NCR dollars. What about Legion Denari? How about that? You live an ordinary life in the waste, which is still far from ordinary. Equipment, a knife or a switchblade, light leather armor or medium cloth armor. Ooh, okay. So different armor types here. A 9mm pistol, 1 pack of 9mm rounds, or a varmint rifle, 12.556. A canteen, a sleeping bag, 2 Salisbury steak, 3 purified waters, and 100 caps. But we also get jobs here. What did you do before you became this weird adventurer, whatever it is that you're doing? Barber, cook, courier. All right, so I know a lot of people are going to pick courier because, of course. So a bunch of fun stuff there. And then just the classic stuff of, your traits, ideal, bonds, and flaws. So we'll have to see that. Also, something I forgot to mention is that there is a downloadable character sheet as well for this. I haven't taken a look at it yet, though. So maybe... I know for a fact, whenever you look at a character sheet, that definitely tells you more about the role-playing game system. So we'll have to take a look after going through these rules here. Alright, so Doctor gives you a whole bunch of doctory stuff here. Explorer gives you explorer stuff. And, just the classic stuff. Farmer, mercenary, scientist... soldier and trader. What I'm curious is does soldier give you power armor proficiency? I'm curious. Well, actually, so your classes actually don't give you any proficiencies. So, what kind of soldier were you? General, scout, infantry, recon, support. Okay. So I'm curious to see how power armor works in this because I know a lot of people are going to try and gravitate toward the best thing, and presumably power armor is probably the best thing. Trader. Ooh, no, Vault Dweller. Interesting. I assume if you're going to be a Vault Dweller, you're probably just going to pick something like a commoner, if I had to guess, or a citizen. Me thinks, anyway. Alrighty, so now we go on to Special. Special is a representation of your character's abilities. Each character has a 5 in each ability. You gain 3 points to adjust your abilities up or down to a maximum of 10 and a minimum of 1. So, you gain 3 points to adjust your abilities up or down. So, does that mean you have to spend a point to lose a point? I don't think that's how that works, but we'll see more. You can even subtract points from your base 5 to gain more points to add to other abilities. Okay, there we go. It answers my own questions. Each ability, after adjusting your points, gains a modifier. That affects your skills. Your modifiers for your abilities are equal to the difference below or above 5. For example, an 8 gives you a +3 modifier, while a strength of 4 has a -1. That is actually a really awesome system. That is just super duper simple, right? Instead of all these random things of like, oh, if you've got, a 17, that's not good enough to put you there, but it puts you there for some reason. Nah, screw that. Just, hey, the base is 5, below, just whatever your skill is, just add or subtract from it, that's your skill. I really like that. The maximum score you can have in ability is 10, and the minimum is 1. Okay, so that still makes you better because the minimum is 1. So the worst you can have is a -4, but the best you can have is a +5. So you know, it is definitely leaning toward PCs being better. But you know, I really like that system. That is a very simple system. I really like how you start off your character, bam, you get 5s everywhere, and then you can add up, subtract, and then you also get an additional 3. That is really cool. I'm sure there's a lot of great different builds you can do with that. And speaking of them, let's take a look at what they affect here. Strength, raw physical strength. The high strength is good for physical characters. Strength effects, carry load, requirements for weapons, melee weapons, unarmed, and intimidation. I really like that strength's tied to intimidation, makes sense. Perception, perception effects, combat sequence, energy weapons, explosives, lockpicks, and medicine. So right there, because we're getting combat sequence, you know, we're getting different vernacular, and because of the special traits right here, that's making me think that this is not just a slap-on to 5e. This is just its own RPG system, which I like to see. Endurance, hit points, healing rate, radiation resistance, survival, charisma, party nerve, pretty interesting there. Barter, intimidation, persuasion, deception, intelligence effects, skill points on leveling up, crafting, and science. Ooh, so your high intelligence does make you better overall, but how much you have to sacrifice to get the intelligence, we'll see. Agility points affect stamina points, action points, guns, and sneak. And luck. Okay, really cool. Luck affects all skills, crit chance, loot, and ... question mark. So yeah, I'll be curious to see how luck holds in this game, because luck has always been a very important part of Fallout, and luck is just a general thing in tabletop role-playing games. We're usually playing games that roll dice, and rolling dice has a complete luck chance to it, right? So skills. These are all the special talents your character has, or, you know, hard-earned and learned skills. Each skill has a bonus equal to your special modifier. This bonus is added to any checks or DCs involved. You can tag a number of skills based on your race, which instantly raises the skill by 2 points. Half of your luck modifier rounded down is added to all your skills. Ooh, that's actually... So, luck is not OP, right? Luck is not just this catch-all, like, it definitely is great at everything. It just means that if you pump a lot of it into your luck, then you get a diminishing return on everything else. So, that's really cool to see. I'll be curious to see how the numbers break down for that. So, for all those skills we get guns, your expertise in using firearms, anything that uses bullets that's tied to your agility. Energy weapons either uses your perception or your agility. Explosives, melee weapons. So we get the usual Fallout accoutrement, which I really love, because Fallout is near and dear in a lot of people's hearts. You know, I'm wearing this shirt right now. You know, Fallout is just a fantastic thing, and I love to see that they are putting in the effort to truly make it shine, right? They're showing off all these things. And we do see a marriage, of course, between traditional 5e D&D and the Fallout universe here. We get the usual stuff of crafting and lockpicks in particular, but then we also get things like, you know, whatever else, right? We get all these fun things: deception, intimidation, persuasion. So I really like that. That's really cool. Traits. Traits are ability-like perks that flavor up your character in the wasteland. You can choose one trait for your character. Wild Wasteland. Okay. So for those of you that don't know, Wild Wasteland is a trait or a perk in Fallout New Vegas, which basically means that every once in a while you come across something that is completely unexplainable, and then you know, it's just weird, right? So you come across some aliens, or you see Indiana Jones in a fridge or whatever. So I'll keep you to see what it is right here. For a truly ridiculous experience, any character can choose this option, which modifies their chosen trait. All of the numerical values, positive and negative, in your trait are doubled. Okay, so it just straight up adds a ×2 to all these other traits. So let's take a look here. Let's take a look at a really quick one. Early Bird. Hey, early risers, you have a +1 to all skills in the morning, 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., but a -1 during the night. Okay, so right there, right? So you have someone that picks up this perk, and then they immediately say, okay, guys, we're only going to go out during the day. But then something happens, and unfortunately you get stuck in the wasteland, and then you go through fighting at the night, and bam, you got a -1. But if you did that in addition to picking up the Wild Wasteland, that doubly screws you at night. I really like that. I really like, let me take a look a few more to see how flavorful they are. Feral Kid, you grew up in the heart of the savage wasteland. You are powerful but tend to shun the company of others. You gain a +1 strength-based skills, but you do not gain the benefits from Party Nerve. Cannot be modified by Wild Wasteland. Very interesting. Okay, so Wild Wasteland affects not every skill, which I think is probably good for balance reasons. I'm sure they thought a lot about that, and that makes sense. That because you can't apply the negative as double, right? But Finesse. You have a permanent -2 to damage, but your crit chance increases by 1 for all weapons. Wow. So does that mean with Wild Wasteland you have -4 to damage, but then you gain an increase of 2 to your crit? I think that could be fanatical because you're consistently doing really bad damage, but you crit so much more often. I think that's pretty funny. 4 Eyes. While wearing glasses, you gain a +1 to perception. If you are ever successfully hit by a headshot, the damage is reduced by 1, but your glasses break. Ooh, interesting. That sounds pretty dope. It's a nice little benefit there. But at the same time, if your glasses get shot off, then it's just like, well, now I've got now I don't have that +1. So that's really cool, really flavorful stuff here. Let's take a look at another one. Hot-Blooded. When your stamina points reach 0, you gain a +1 to damage with all weapons, but a -1 to attack rolls with all weapons. Ooh, okay. That's really cool. Kamikaze, that's a classic one. By not paying attention to any threats, you can act fast. You gain a +1 to combat sequence, which I'm assuming is just initiative, right? But you have a -2 to your stamina points. Very interesting. I am very curious to see what all these are. Really, really great stuff here, just capturing the flavor. Leveling up. Each time you reach a new level, you gain the following benefits. Skill points. You can use these points to increase your skills by the listed value. If you have a positive intelligence score, you gain an extra skill point. If you have a negative intelligence score, you subtract 1 point from the total gain. Ooh, man. So if you're going for that caveman build where you're just bumbling through dialogue, apparently you're going to be sucking. But as long as you got some friends helping you out, it should be fine, right? Benefit. Each level gains a benefit. Perks. You can choose one perk in which you meet the requirements for. Special. You can increase any of your special abilities by 1 to a maximum of 10. Skill points. You can use these points to increase your skills by the listed value. If you have a positive intelligence score, you gain an extra skill point. If you have a negative intelligence score, you subtract 1 from the total gained. And HP and SP. At level 1, your HP has a base of 10 plus your endurance modifier, and your stamina points of a 10 plus your agility modifier. Each time you gain a bonus to your HP and SP, they are modified by their corresponding ability. Really, really cooler. And I can see there on the side there, there's this chart, which we'll be taking a look at in a moment here. But gaining XP. XP is one of the biggest things when it comes to role-playing games because that dictates how you play the game. If you get XP for killing monsters, your players are going to kill monsters. You get XP for getting the gold, your players are going to get the gold. You get XP for spending gold, they're going to spend gold. So we'll see what the objectives here are. Levels are a measurement of your character's experience and adaptation into the wasteland. All party members share the same number of XP, defaulting to the member with the highest XP. Your party can gain XP in a number of ways. Encounters and quests. XP is not rewarded by killing people or monsters. It is instead rewarded for surviving encounters in the wasteland. Sometimes failure is the best teacher. Every member gains XP equal to the difficulty of the encounter when completed, including added modifiers. These modifiers are explained below. Reaching 0 HP. If any party member during the encounter or quest reaches 0 HP, a 20% bonus of XP is added for each character that went down. Wow, so if you have a party of 4, throughout the course of an adventure, all 4 PCs go down to 0 HP, that would mean an 80% increase. So that's pretty insane. So I'm curious to see what the XP thresholds is looking like here. Death. If any character permanently died during the quest or encounter, a bonus equal to the XP needed to level up is added. Wow, okay, so you're going out there, you're doing something crazy, someone dies, then, hey, they died, screw them, but you all level up. Congratulations, you survived. Very interesting. Walking away. If the quest or encounter is ignored and no skill checks are rolled to avoid the encounter or quest, no XP is rewarded. So you take on an adventure and you're just saying, nah, this is too dangerous, then, yeah, you're abandoning the quest, you don't get anything. Discovery. If the party discovers a new location or creature during the quest or encounter, a 10% bonus of XP is added to each new discovery. You're roaming around the wasteland, you turn around the corner, you see a centaur. You've never seen a centaur before, you freak out, boom, 10% XP. Really cool. So I don't know yet the XP thresholds is, but we can take a look at the level up table here. On level 1, which I presume you start off as, you get tag, trade, 3 special points, 10 HP, 10 and SP. Yeah, so you start off at level 1. And then 2, you get +1 perk or +1 special. Okay, so immediately I like that as well, because from what I can gather, there is no classes in this game. And I really like that because when you have a classless game, what ends up happening is you start off as equals, but then eventually you begin to evolve into what you want to be. So right there at level 2, you're immediately just going off the rails from everybody else. Are you going to increase your skills, or are you going to take one of those unique perks? And then at level 3, we get +5 HP, +5 SP, +1 perk, or +1 special. So there is specifically a period right there behind the SP, so you get the HP and the SP, but then you choose between the perk or the special. And then level 4, you choose between the perk or the special. 5 is +5 skill points, +5 HP, +5 SP. Okay, so it just continues on. And I presume that the cap level stone here is level 30, which, once again, I don't know how much XP is required to level up yet, but judging by the fact that if people go down and you get bonus XP to that, and if anybody dies, you just get an air cool level up, that means that games are going to go by relatively quickly, which I am always an advocate for shorter adventures. I don't need 100+ sessions, me personally. Alrighty, so we don't know how much XP is required yet, but we do get a look at perks. The no requirement perks. Okay, so Swift Learner. Each level of this perk gives you and your party an additional 10% bonus whenever you earn XP. Wow, okay, so if you get everyone on board and say, hey, let's just get all the bonus XP, you start flying through those levels. Interesting. Commando. Each rank increases all attack and damage rolls with ranged weapons by 1. Wow, okay, so I'm very curious to see this in play, because I'm looking at it and I can already tell that munchkins, power gamers, you know, whatever you want to call them, they're going to be looking at the system and beginning to dissect it. I don't play games like that. I don't try to power game. I just roll with it and see what goes, but I'm curious to see how well it plays between, if you know, the power gamers and the casual audience here. So we get some other just traditional stuff. Tag. Requirements level 5. You can tag 1 extra skill. Pretty cool. And then let's take a look here. We have strength-based perks. Heave-ho! Thrown weapons have double the range. Really, really cool. Perception perks. Pack rat. Items that you have a load less than 5 are reduced to 1 for you. Okay, so not only by the pack rat here, but also because I just saw it strong back, your carry load increased by 50. That does mean that carrying stuff's a big deal in this game. Carrying equipment is a big deal. You go out into the world, you get stuff, and you haul it back. You don't just have an infinite pocket. And because of the Fallout universe, there is no bags of holding. Screw you, right? So you have to be careful. Maybe bring a pack Brahmin with you, and that's that. Endurance perks, Life Giver. With each level of this perk, you gain a +3 bonus to your HP and stamina points. Pretty dope. Let's take a look here. Charisma perks, Party Animal. Nobody has a good time like you. While drunk, you have advantage on all charisma checks. Heck yeah, you get drunk in the cities. Absolutely. Other great stuff here. But is there a widow? Is there a Black Widow perk? Probably not. I'm willing to bet. I don't see it anywhere. No, there is no Black Widow perk. Makes sense. Makes sense. Intelligence perks. Let's take a look here. First aid. You can patch up minor wounds. You can heal a creature up to their healing rate. Once you heal in this way, the creature can only be healed again after resting. Pretty dope. If you're in the middle of a dungeon and you're doing whatever, then boom, you can patch someone up real quick. They get a decent amount of healing, and you get back in the fight. Pretty cool. Agility perks. Gunslinger. While using pistol, your targeted shot penalties are reduced by 2. Targeted. Okay, so there is targeting, so there is sort of like a VATS system. Probably not exactly on par with VATS, but we'll have to see. And luck perks. Ooh, very interesting. Scrounger. When looting ammo off the corpse of their containers, you find double the amount. Wow, okay. I really like that. Mysterious Stranger shows up. When you roll a natural 10 on a d20 for an attack roll, the Mysterious Stranger appears and attacks, dealing half the target creature's HP in damage. The Mysterious Stranger can only appear once a day. Really, really dope. And you have to be really lucky for that. Racial perks as well. Cannibal, human and ghoul. Let me guess, you eat people. When you consume fresh human flesh died within the past 15 minutes, you heal up to your healing rate. If you consume prepared human flesh, you gain 5 temp HP. temp stamina points, actually, that lasts for 1 hour. However, it is a crime against nature, you sicko. I love flavor text and features. It makes it feel so great. Really, really cool. So racial stuff, lead belly. You take half the amount of rads. So yeah, this is really great. This is really capturing Fallout in all of its essence. As a synth, light step. You have advantage on checks to avoid traps, mines, and floor-based explosions. If you take this perk again, you never set off the described explosive device. Really cool. You can be the synth that is just like, oh yeah, I'm a human, I'm totally human, and then you just like walk past a mine and it doesn't set off, but then the next person walks past and it blows up. That's actually really funny. So equipment, here is where we get into the juicy bits here, because equipment also tells a very good tale on what to expect in our role-playing games. Armor is an important thing in the Wasteland. There is no sets of specific armor and their unique properties. Instead, all apparel falls under the categories of its class and type. All armor can be upgraded to improve its ability to protect. It's up to you on how your armor looks. Minimum AC. While wearing this armor, this details the minimum AC while wearing it. DT, damage threshold. When taking HP, subtract the total from your damage threshold. Material, when the armor is made of. And what is needed to repair it. Okay, so yeah, going back into weapon degradation, armor degradation here. Repair DC, the crafting roll you must beat in order to repair the armor. Carry load and strength requirement, this is how much load your armor has, and the minimum required strength to wear it. Decay, armor decays when taking a critical hit or reaching 0 HP. So, is that meaning when you, as the person, receive 0 HP, or when your armor reaches 0 HP? I guess we'll have to see. Customization, all armor is customizable, blah, blah, blah. Alrighty. And then we get some tags here. Camouflage gives you a advantage on stealth checks. Light is load and strength requirement are reduced by 2, but DT or AC is decreased by 1. Lead line, double your rad resist. Strengthened, damage to limbs is halved. Sturdy doesn't decay on critical hits. Pocketed, increased carry load by 10. So we are getting way, way more depth into what armors and stuff we can do here, and this is just fan-freaking-tastic. Once again, everyone starts off as the same exact character, but depending on what you choose and what you want, boom, right there. So let's take a look here. So if you're wearing scrap metal, it costs 100 C on 100 caps. 11 AC, no damage threshold. It is metal and requires a DC of 8 to repair. And also has a load of 20 with a strength requirement of 5. Okay, and let's take a look at some other fun stuff here. Heavy, plastic polymer, 480 caps, 11 AC, 3 DT. So, right there, we're looking at all these different things, right? So we have this plastic polymer, which is 11 AC, but gives you 3 damage threshold, versus the scrap metal, which is 12 AC, but only 1 damage threshold. You have to say there, okay, do I want a higher AC, meaning it's harder to get hit, but if I do get hit, I take more damage, or do I want a lower AC, but when I do get hit, it's not as bad? I really like those choices. You're going to definitely see a lot of people debate on what's the best and what you're going up against, what you know. That's just so cool, so cool. Power armor, here we go. Power armor is heavy-duty armor that requires training, strength, and fusion cores to use. It's impossible to properly use power armor without a proper training. Many people who have the training can teach you how to use it, or with enough knowledge of science, you can take the perk and learn it yourself. Okay, so I must have missed it there, but there must be a power armor perk. Increased strength. Your strength is considered 10 while wearing power armor. Really, really cool. You take 1/4 fall damage you normally would and cannot fall prone. Pretty dope. Chems do not cost AP to use while on armor. AP being the action points. I believe, once again, that's going to be tied to some sort of initiative there. Limb shield, you take half as much damage to your limbs. Oxygen tank, you can breathe underwater, and you have doubles its rad resistance. So cool. Look at this. So if you're rocking a T60, wow, okay, you get 16 AC, an 8 damage threshold, and you can only go rocking for 4 hours. So cool. Not overpowered at all, because fusion cores are going to cost a ton. If the thing gets damaged, you're completely out of it. That's fan-frickin-tastic. That's great. So we also get the same level of care with the weapons and not just the armor. So cool. So we can see here just all these different little tags here. We get heavy, crit damage dice increases by 1, or multiplier increases by 1, load increases by half. Serrated weapon causes bleeding when dealing damage. Ergonomic crit chances increased by 1. So cool. I love seeing all those different special properties. You're gonna pick up a different weapon, like, oh, the combat knife. It does 2d4 slashing or piercing, but it does ×4 bleeding. So cool. So freaking fantastic. And then, so this is just the bladed weapons here. Let's take a look at blunt weapons. We have a baseball bat. A baseball bat does 3d4 bludgeoning, and the crit chance is 20 with 2d4. But then you compare that to the sledgehammer, which is a d12. The max for both of those are the same, it's the 12. But the baseball bat is on average better because, you know, if you roll 3d4, then it'll be 2-3-3 or 2-2-3, and that would be higher on average than the 1d12. But the baseball bat does, the sledgehammer does stuns. So that's so cool. You know, just really have to sit there and debate, you know, what's going to be best for your build. What am I working with here? A war drum, classic stuff. Mechanical weapons, we get rippers and chainsaw. Oh my goodness, chainsaw does 68 slashing damage and it crits on 19 or 20, but it uses energy cells. Okay, uses energy cells. You cannot just be rocking a chainsaw forever. Makes sense. Deathclaw Gauntlet, 3d12 slashing. Woo! Scary stuff there. Ranged weapons, silenced. I really like that. Muzzle brake, hardened receiver, upgraded grip. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait to take this RPG out for a spin. This is really fascinating. I can't wait to show this off to some people and say, hey, you know, pick whatever you want. Maybe I'll make a whole bunch of pre-gens with some pre-made stuff. You know, I'll be curious to see how people take to this. Thompson Smg, 1d4 ballistic per attack. It does ×4 ×8. So I'm assuming SMGs are okay. All SMGs have this feature. These attacks can target one creature or multiple. If the attack targets multiple creatures, they must be within 10 feet of the previous attacked creature. Okay, really cool. You can spray and pray, or you can just single someone down. I really like that. Sniper rifle, Chinese assault rifle, varmint rifle we saw earlier, anti-material rifle. That better do all the damage. Yeah, it does 5d8 ballistic, ×16 or ×40. No, that's the range. Okay, so I was totally looking at something else there. The range, but the damage, crit chance, and type on a 19 to 20, and then it does ×4. You get a crit with an anti-material rifle, you're doing 20 d8 points of damage. They better die if they get hit by that. Shotguns, really dope stuff here. Big guns, minigun. Woo-wee. I like me some minigun. Fat Man just does all the damage. I like how the Fat Man doesn't really have that big of a crit, you know, thing to it because it doesn't need that crit thing to it, right? It's already doing all the damage. Energy weapons, one of my personal favorites. I always use loving plasma weapons in particular. Let's take a look here. We get plasma rifle, 2d8 plasma, ×3 damage. Oof, I might have to pick up some laser stuff here. Ammunition, because in the Fallout universe, there is just so many different guns. They're using so many different calibers and all that other crazy stuff here. Oh, so dope. Explosives. Okay, explosives are always a big deal. Deafness. Any creature within 10 feet of an explosion is deafened for 4 minus endurance mod rounds. Makes sense. Timing detonations. Okay, so so I'm curious to see here. So when you throw it, I'm assuming that means you roll that d20, and then on a 1, the explosion goes off in your face, and then on 15 up, it lands exactly where you designated it and explodes at the end of your turn. That's so cool. I really like that. Because in reality, if you're throwing things in the middle of combat, they're not always going to land where you want them to. Screw you, fireball. You're not always going to pull off the perfect fireball. You should be flying around all over the place. Throwing explosives, Molotov cocktails, frag grenades, flashbangs. Really dope. Mines, C4s, nuke mines. Oh, scary stuff. Equipment that tells you a whole bunch of great things, like good old caltrops, doing some damage there, and first aid kit helping the homies out. Rope, because every adventure's got to have rope. Food, because you do have to eat in this game. But food, I believe, is also going to give you radiation, right? Yeah, RAD's 10. Look at that. So eating food is a dangerous affair. But noodle cups are already cancerous by themselves. They don't need radiation. Drinks, once again, you know, same boat there. They give you rads, especially if you're drinking those sweet Nuka-Colas there. Oh, man, freaking tastic. Skill magazines. So skill magazines are things that you read to make your skills just a little bit better for a little bit of time. Let's take a look here. Skill magazines typically bought or found. It takes 1 minute and effects last 1 hour. Okay, I really like that. So you have to break into this person's home, and then you say, "All right, I'm gonna read that book that we picked up earlier. Where's the plus to sneak? Not sneak. Pick locking. I'm so blind I can't see it. I don't see it anywhere, but there should be a lockpick one. Yeah, right there. Locksmith's reader. And bam, you read that, you're good to go. Chems, because you got to do that classic stuff. Buff out, Jet, Hydra, Medex, Rocket, Daddy-O, Mentats. Everybody loves Mentats. Everyone gets hooked on those. So yes, I actually want to see here addictive chems. That is totally great. You get addicted if you are trying to make yourself better. These things are not just little, health potions that help you out for a little bit of time. No, these things are bad because they have bad side effects. So you have an addiction chance, an addiction side effect. Ooh, those side effects are really bad here. Hydra. Ooh, if you get addicted to Hydra, -3 endurance. Oof, that's real bad. Non-addictive chems, because Rad Away and Rad-X and Stimpaks, they're not going to be addictive. And equipment decay levels. Okay, probably should have been put somewhere else, but we'll see what's up here. At level 1, your weapon and armor is unaffected, so you start off at level 1. At level 2, weapon has a -2 to damage, armor has a -1 to AC, and to a minimum of 10. Very interesting. And also, cost is reduced by 20, so if you buy, presumably, something that's crap, then it's going to be not as expensive. At level 3, -3 to damage and 2 to attack. Armors have a -1 to DT and -2 to AC. I really like that. So it just keeps on degrading. And then at level 5, weapon and armor no longer functions. Pretty dope. Alright, so finally we get onto the gameplay. Carry load. Your carry load is a combination of space and weight. In general, a measurement of how much stuff you can carry. If you exceed this amount, you gain the condition encumbered. Probably really bad. You never want to be encumbered. Survival, because if you're not a robot, then you have to eat, sleep, and drink, and all that's laid out there. Shelter is anything that covers you from the wind. You need to get this stuff because that's what humans need. Radiation, really bad, and levels of radiation. Here we go. On a 0 through 149, no immediate effect, but a 150 to 299, you have -2 to healing rate. Okay, so depending on the kind of game that you're running, if you are constantly based in the town, that's not as bad. But if you're constantly out in the wilderness, that's going to eat up into you, right? But then especially once you get to 300 to 449 here, -4 to healing rate and -1 endurance. So that's really taking its toll into you. 450 to 599, -6 healing rate, 3 endurance, 1 agility, 1 strength. 600 to 699, skin is falling off. 6 healing rate, 7 endurance. Roll a d20, and on 10 through 20, the character turns into a ghoul over the course of 1d10 days. Interesting. So what I'm curious about is, if you are a human that transforms into a ghoul, what is the process of that? Because I just glanced over at the 1000 plus, you turn into a feral ghoul. So that tells me that this one, skin is falling off, you turn into a ghoul. Do you then get all the benefits thereof of a ghoul and then lose all the benefits of a human? The humans actually didn't have any real benefits, so maybe you just get all the benefits of being a ghoul. Actually all the detriments as well, because they also have some detriments there. So I don't know if that's a typo. They did say that this is brand new, so it goes from 699 all the way to 1000. I assume that there's supposed to be something in between there. Intense agony. If not cured within 24 hours, the character dies. If the character dies, roll a d20. On a 10 through 20, the character turns into a feral ghoul. How dope is that? Someone gets locked away by the super mutants, and then everyone else runs away, and then a day later, you see your friend chasing after you, and they're snarling and raving. Pretty dope. Party nerve. So we saw a lot of this earlier. Your charm and influence has an effect on your party, making them more diehard, determined, or even just plain focused. Every member of your party, including yourself, gains a bonus equal to half your charisma modifier to HP and death saving throws. Okay, so there is death saving throws. Karma caps. Every player has 2-sided cap that allows them to gain advantage on a d20 roll. When this happens, the cap is flipped and can no longer be used. Any player with a flipped karma cap is at risk of something bad happening to them, and at any point during the game, the GM can flip a player karma cap back over to gain advantage on a d20 roll made against the player. So that's not necessarily antagonistic, but it is definitely a way to, just show off, oh yeah, karma can bite you back, and at the worst of times, that could be a bad thing. If a player with a flipped karma cap ever rolls a natural 1, they can flip their cap over again. If the GM ever rolls a critical hit against a player that is a flipped cap, they can flip their cap back over again. So I really like that. That is, once again, never be an antagonistic GM or referee or whatever this system tries to call. Oh, maybe in this system you're like an overseer. Boom. As a referee in this game, you're an overseer. I coined it, me. So if you're the overseer, I'm going to be using that all the time now. Never be antagonistic. Just always make sure that, it's all light and fun-hearted, right? So your players are having a good time and then they use something to their advantage. Guess what? That's going to come to bite them back later on. Rest. You need sanctuaries and stuff. Health and stamina. This is what I really wanted to see here. Each character has stamina and HP. Your hit points are measurement of your bodily health. Whenever you take damage, you first subtract the damage from your stamina points. Though damage taken from stamina points is not in many ways considered bodily harm, but a near graze, a dodge blow, or a quick juke. Some abilities may require you to physically damage your opponent, in which you must damage their HP. Every character starts off with 10 HP and endurance modifier, and 10 stamina points plus their agility modifier. What the heck are stamina points? Stamina points are not the same as HP. In other RPG systems, your dexterity, agility, or move fast ability is tied to your AC, allowing heroes to dodge bullets, backflip over fireballs, or run away from anything. In Fallout, you're a bit more mortal. Stamina points are a measurement of this ability, but fighting is still exhausting and pacing yourself is important in the wasteland. Dodging a near life-ending bullet is harrowing. Sometimes you can shrug off a punch, but as battle continues, you grow weary and thus your stamina points drain. Stamina points are a combination of exhaustion, fortitude, and your acrobatic abilities. I really like that. So, HP, it can be seen as health, but it can also be seen as hero points, or it can be seen as, fatigue or whatever. So this one actually just straight up, there is a differentiation. You have your physical stuff, but then you also have the, I'm tired of getting, almost hit or whatever kind of thing. I really like that. Your healing rate is equal to half your endurance score plus your level. Bloodied and mortal, these are conditions signified by your level of health. A creature is bloody when they first take damage to their HP. A creature is mortal when they are below half their max HP. Makes sense. And death saves. When a character reaches 0 HP via a source of damage, they immediately lose all stamina points and fall unconscious. At the start of each of their turns, they roll a d20, their luck modifier. If they roll 1, they fail 2 death saving throws. If they roll 2 through 9, they fail 1. On 10 through 19, they succeed 1. On a 20, they gain 1 HP. So that is totally just straight up out of the 5e book there, except for the fact that you actually get to add to it. The fact that you get to add your luck modifier is pretty huge, because if you have a high luck modifier, then your chances of surviving are that much better. And here we go, combat. So combat is the big thing. And those of you familiar with D&D, this is basically initiative, what I suspected. When combat is starting, every acting creature rolls perception to determine their combat sequence. Alternatively, you can choose to go last. Okay, so what happens if multiple people decide to go last? How does that work? Is it a... I'm curious if they plan to address that, because what if someone says, I want to go last? No, I want to go last. I'll be curious. Surprise. Surprise is a condition that can be given to a creature who's unaware of their attackers. To determine surprise, contest sneak and perception. Okay. Action points. When creature has action points that determine how much they can do in a turn. Your action points is equal to 10 plus your agility modifier. When combat sequence is rolled, you can spend action points to turn to move and attack, interact with objects, etc. Range and melee weapons would detail how many AP it costs to attack with them. Others are detailed below. So I wasn't particularly looking at too much of that stuff here. Let's take a look all the way back at, let's take a look at the guns, for example. AP, yep. So a laser pistol costs 5 AP, but guess what? A plasma pistol, that costs 6 AP. The harder hitting stuff is probably going to cost more AP. And in fact, I want to see for the big weapons here. Those just use 6 AP, use 5 AP. But do melee weapons use less? I'm willing to bet that's the case. 10 millimeter pistol uses 4 AP. That's pretty interesting. And here we go. So yes, the melee weapons in particular use way less AP. So for the amount of times you can, I don't know, you shoot and punch someone with boxing gloves, you could do 2 punches, or you could do 1 shot with a rifle. I really like that. It definitely makes makes there be a game balance between melee and ranged, because realistically, in a game with guns, it would make sense that guns always trump everything else. So that's good to see there. Recycling action points. If you don't use all of your action points on your turn, you can recycle half of them for your next turn. Ooh, I really like that. So that's kind of like a system of like, oh, hey, you know what? I'm actually not in a prime position to do anything. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to wait for them to like come in the room, and then I'm going to unload. I think that's really, really cool. Dodge, you prepare to move quickly. Before the start of your next turn, all attacks made against you have disadvantage. And at the beginning of any other creature's turn, you can move 15 feet in any direction. You can equip a weapon, escape a grapple, help somebody, hide, move 5 feet. You can move 1 hex per... Okay, so 1, I always like hexes, because hexes are always fun. But 2, the fact that your movement and your actions are tied together, right? So that tells me you can have a turn where you stand still, do nothing, and then do stuff, but you get to do more stuff. Or you could do a full turn where you're just moving, or you could do turns where you kind of split those apart. And really, what I really like about that is not all the time do you need to use your full movement. Sometimes you can just move a little bit, you're good to go, and then you can just use all those sweet, sweet other points. So that's awesome that we get all these different actions. I know for a fact I'm going to run this. When I do run this, I'm going to have like a cheat sheet prepared for all these actions, because there's quite a lot. But I really do like that you get different action, a whole bunch of action points, and you can do a bunch of different things. And boom, just like that right there. So we can see here, moving 5 feet, only 1. Ready is a +2. Reloading is 6. Oh man, you really don't want to be reloading when you don't have to. Standing up from prone is huge. If you get knocked prone, you are screwed. That's going to eat up a lot into your action economy there. Attacks on your turn, you can spend actions when making an attack, or roll a d20, and then with whatever benefits you have. Unarmed attack costs 3 AP. They deal 1d4 plus strength mod. But you never want to actually be unarmed. You always want to have some sort of weapon. Blocking, sneak attacks if the enemy cannot sense you. You have your attacks are critical hits and ignore stamina points. However, you still must roll to attack the target's AC. Really, really dope. Target attacks. So, obviously there's not going to be a VAT system where you look around and do a 100 percentile or whatever. When you attack with any weapon, you can instead choose to perform a targeted attack. Choose a limb to attack. If you hit, roll d4. The target is afflicted with a corresponding condition. If you are critically hit, you may choose the condition. If you critically hit, you get to choose the condition. Makes sense. All targeted limb attacks deal half the damage they normally would. Okay. Right there, perfect balance, right? So you can either just choose to shoot at them, or I could be like, you know what? I know this isn't going to do as much damage, but I want to, shoot them in the legs. And then, boom, I have a -3 to that attack roll. It's going to do half the damage, but hey, I could make it so that their agility goes down. Like, that's really cool. So you have that huge trade-off of DPS or, situational differences right there. Really, really cool. Trying to shoot someone in the head is a really, really bad idea because it's a -6. But if you do hit them, then it could be something like they are stunned until the end of their next turn. Huge deal, right? Very simple system there on this little VAT stuff, and I absolutely love it. Conditions, hey, don't be dehydrated, don't get exhausted. Very, very simple things. If you reach a level 6 in any of these conditions, you just die, but throughout the entirety of the time, it just gets worse and worse. Blinded and bleeding and encumbered and deafened and all this fun stuff. Invisible, because there is no invisibility spells, but there is stealth boys, and those are a huge deal. You don't want to be knocked prone. Prone creatures' only movement option is to crawl, which costs 2 AP per 5 feet, unless it stands up, but standing up costs 5 AP. The creature has disadvantage on all attack rolls, and an attack roll against the creature has advantage of the attackers within 5 feet. Otherwise, the attack roll has disadvantage. So, because they're just copying the 5e rulebook right there is some instances where you'd want to be prone if someone's shooting at you, but more often than not, you don't want to be prone. So, really, really fun stuff there. And that's that. Okay, so First impressions here, I'm really liking this. I really like how it's not just a slap on to 5e. This is its own role-playing game system. Obviously, they are using some of the vernacular of 5e, but, you know, it stands out on its own. If you're a 5e veteran, you can probably pick this up without much issue, and if you're a Fallout nerd, you're probably going to like this. There's a lot of things to dive into here. They're going to be adding more stuff to it. I did see some, like, you know, maybe some rules clarifications that may needed, but, you know, they're coming out with stuff, and I'm sure this is going to get play tested now, and I encourage you to play test it if you love Fallout, and if you love, you know, a weird, not necessarily sci-fi, but, you know, just a, you know, weird world. I definitely encourage it. I certainly can't wait to test this out, and I can't wait to see what making characters like, because characters are going to be really fascinating in this game, just because of all these weird zany perks that I'm going to be finding here. Just really fun stuff, really weird perks and traits, and as you level up, you just become different. Something I don't think I ever saw was how much XP you need to level up. I don't know. I don't think I ever saw that, and I don't know if it's there. You can tell me down below if you find it, but maybe it's I don't know. I'll have to see. But yeah, go ahead and tell me your impressions of this. I certainly can't wait to show this off some more, because all those people at Arcane Arcade and XP to Level 3 are putting out awesome content all the time. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening, and thank you to my amazing patrons. You guys are absolutely incredible. Thank you so very much, and I cannot wait to see you all in the next one.